Hello, and welcome to Greet the Week. I am Mona Duncan, and this is a weekly chat where we look at living in the now that always is, and to embracing life with gratitude, and to seeing how that we can make effective choices and be willing to learn lessons from the choices that we make. So today's topic is about love and belonging. And put it on the whole screen. Love and belonging. This is kind of going to be a recap of a little chat that we had last week after having the Making Sense of It that was presented by Jay Levin, and his topic was choice theory and Vedanta, which those of you that want to go back and look at the presentation, the date was January the 26th, last Wednesday. Anyway, his presentation was on how choice theory just so matches the Vedanta population of like 5,000 years ago, and how that the similarities are there. Anyway, in our afterwards conversation, we began to talk about how that so many of those concepts really need to be brought about today. And I'm thinking of how that we look at perceptions and coincidences and when accidents happen, and realizing that, we see it as good or bad, or have comments to make about it. The thing of it is that all of the conditions were met for them to happen, or they wouldn't have happened, whether it was a near miss or whether it was an actual a bad wreck. It's looking at all the conditions were met, and that can entail from just a few to multitude of options. And then looking at beliefs and understanding, and that what we believed at one time we may not believe now, or what we understood at one time we may have another understanding of it now. And to be open to those things, and to look at them, and to think about them, and to begin to make a firm foundation to see what needs to be added to, and seeing if there's any reality there. And then it's looking at what I began to look at is that projecting the topics and the teasers and the things that's going to be coming up on the next month. Sometimes I put things down just randomly, but it goes back up to the coincidences that whenever it comes time to present, it is just so right on. And it's looking at those kind of things and being, considering them. And then it's also looking at the fact that we brought up, when I was certified, I began my journey in 1996, and I was certified in 1998. And at the particular time, I saw that spirituality was the need as a fifth need, as a sixth need. And in going back up to looking at, making sense of and all that kind of stuff, well, that sixth need to our five basic needs of survival and love and belonging and power and fun and freedom, then that would make the sixth need, because you want to look at logic and look at the underneath the hood of a car, the engine there is a 6-cylinder. But I had a chance to talk it over with Dr. Glasser, that I was really concerned. And in my presentations, I saw that, drew the definition of the five basic needs, but then also had a little glow going around it of love and belonging that just does the spirituality. And through talking with Dr. Glasser and his all-inclusive mannerisms, he saw the need for loving, the need to love and to be loved, that it covers the scope, no matter what the scope is and no matter what our understanding of it is. And so, in working with the prison population for 20 years, and in looking at the freedom to whatever their religious belief is or their spiritual belief is, to make avenues available to them, and how we live our life. This is a little diagram that I began to put together and to look at, that also, and how that one of our basic things, one of our basic drives seems to be, is the need for pleasure pain. That we are drawn to, like a moth to a flame, we are drawn to wanting success and happiness and good times and all that we can get. But often we pursue them in ways that bring discord. And we begin to think, well, instead of this being the life, then we bit into a lie. And here, where I'm doing the little thing, there's a fading out of the life, because we begin to see it as being, well, this isn't worth anything. That we see all the stuff, and we want prestige and fame and fortune and fun and thrills and adventure. And sometimes in the choices we make in trying to pursue those things, we find that life is kind of empty and meaningless and sad, and we become disillusioned. Well, in keeping with our thought from last week, that here's just some food for thought. Back in 1981, someone told me about a book entitled Knowing God by I.J. Packer. And this person said that that book was so deep that they could only read like 3 pages a day, because it took time for it to settle in and to really understand what it was. Well, here is just I have 4 thoughts just from page 1. And it starts off, on 7 January 1855, the minister of New Park Street Chapel, Southwark, opened his morning sermon as follows, quote, "There is something exceedingly improving to the mind in a contemplation of the divine. It is a subject so vast that all thoughts are lost in its immensity, so deep that our pride is drowned in its infinity. Finding that our plumb line cannot sound its depth, our eagle eye cannot see its height, we turn away from the thought that man would be wise. While the subject humbles the mind, it also expands it." And I was very pleased when, in spring of 2019, the International Journey of Choice Theory and Reality Therapy dedicated it to spirituality. And there was one thing that in the article that I presented, in the abstract, I wrote, "The concept of choice theory and reality therapy belong to all religions and to none. The teaching of choice theory and reality therapy may not be for everyone, yet it is not against anyone." And from the earliest notion of what my goal for life was, it was to help heal a hurting world, to see the hurts and the disregards and the pain. And I found, thankfully, that choice theory is the vehicle that is helping to live out that goal. And a life coach, Julie Motz, made the comment that love is the feeling that flows out from you once you know who you are, to connect you to other people. And I'm thinking that in loving and belonging, and in that need, and it is a need, it's not just a want, it is a need, that perhaps we can allow it to flow out from us once we realize that we are loved and that everyone is lovable, and that there are so many ways to enjoy and look at the choices we make, the attitudes we have, and just give some deep thought to it and let it bring joy to you. So thanks for being here. Short and sweet today, and many blessings.